Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I've got my coffee. I got my car back from the
Did your
impound
internet just drop
yesterday.
out like immediately?
Did what?
Oh, maybe it's my internet that's having an issue. This is just fantastic. This week has been, I feel, okay, super long week for me. I'm
Okay.
just going to jump right in. One thing first, a friend of mine reached out to me yesterday, and I made a comment earlier in this week when we were talking about coaching and consulting and mentoring and the different versions of this thing. And I made a joke, and I said the difference between mentors and coaches is that coaches get paid. And that was a joke. That is a snarky thing I do in sales conversations whenever people are confused about why I charge for the things that I do when there are so many mentors out there. And they're not the same modality, they're not the same thing at all. They're very, very different. So just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that. I'm not saying they're the same thing, and you should be doing the damn thing differently depending upon what labels you're using. So I don't think they're the same thing. So apologies if I did not explain that well. It was just trying to be clever, which is a downfall for me. So
No worries, man. No worries, man. Well, so you got that off your chest. How did the rest of
yeah,
your week?
man, I feel beat up, honestly.
Oh,
I
really?
feel a little tired, a little bit beat down. Not beat down, I would say. Just I feel battle weary, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. We've got a guest. I want to take all his time. Otherwise, we'd be digging straight into that. I want to hear more
Yeah.
about what's going on there.
I don't really know that I've got a great set of reasons as to why that I can clearly point to. It's just being an entrepreneur. Hey, good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Dylan. Being an entrepreneur, you have some awareness about yourself, hopefully, right? And it leads to being very open. I mean, at least with some people. So I've had great conversations. I've had great meetings. But just some weeks are different than others. That's okay. Good morning, Mike. Happy Friday.
Mr. Regular in the house.
Mr. Regular.
That's right. So yeah, same. I'm tired, definitely, but mine's more just tired of idiot people. It's one of those weeks,
I feel that as well.
People that aren't compassionate, that aren't empathetic, that aren't wanting what's best for everyone involved. Just those type of people. It makes it tough sometimes. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
What about you?
I'm good. I got a good wrap on my week, and I've got a little bit lighter day. I actually get to get a massage this afternoon, so I am feeling Friday morning, just roll through this into the weekends, into my massage.
Okay. You got some senioritis going on. You're not really going to do anything today. That's okay.
Oh no. Yeah, we can take a look at my calendar. There's plenty left. It's a mindset, right? So,
cool. Let's talk about our day so we can bring our guest on.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of mindset, this dude, man, I don't even know if I have the words, right? That's the thing is a level of energy that he just seems to always bring to the stuff that he does. And he's going to talk a little bit about it, right? About the whole kind of new media that we have post-pandemic where things are just working different, And so I'm excited about this guy. So good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Dylan.
Michelle. Good morning, Dylan. Thank
Mike. You. Good morning, lurkers. I'm going to play you a little something here.
Just so real quick.
Okay.
If Kara is watching, a rad person who I met yesterday who said that she gets up at 5 a.m. So if you're watching and you're enjoying your tea, welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Shout out. All right. Well, let's do this real quick. We are going to take a look at the man T-Lock himself and how
this is a sample, guys.
Yeah, he does it a little different than us. So maybe we might be changing some things. Yeah. All right.
Hello, and welcome. Happy freaking Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Club Link. If you're new here, your job is super.
Happy freaking Friday indeed.
Yes.
Let's just get to it, man. Here's the man, Travis. What's going on, Travis?
What's up, guys? Oh man, that was brilliant to see a little bit out of context. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is People officially do think I'm crazy probably here on LinkedIn. So if they weren't there yet, we're here to solidify it. So welcome to the show, folks.
That's right. That's right. Our other co-host today, T-Lex, going to take over. He's got the turntables. I can see the keyboard. See the keyboard in the back. So, Travis, man, tell us, what do you do? Like, for those that don't know, besides being a DJ, what
Give
do
us
you
that.
do?
Give us the T-Lock 30-second commercial, the elevator pitch.
So our simplest, it's gotten way easier to answer this question because I used to be all over the place, but I have finally found my lane as a multimedia producer. So helping others connect ideas to reality and then plug that into their life or business in an effective, efficient, and positive ROI type of way. So that world of creativity and business, I've kind of been teetering back and forth. Started as a music producer, went very heavy on like the creative, artistic side. Discovered how difficult it is to survive and monetize like on that and like sustainably. So skewed all the way the other end of the direction, business, entrepreneurship. That was my first adventure into dabbling like into choosing your own lane, creating your own destiny. And it was a little excessive. It was great. It was financially sustainable, but it didn't quite like hit you with like passion and like this is what we're here for. So now post pandemic, I'm super grateful to have finally discovered my lane that just feels like the perfect sweet spot between both of those two worlds, and it's helping others find that creativity and that artistic like entertainment like superstar type of mentality that they need to find for themselves, but plug it into their life or business in a practical and effective way. Usually in the context of content marketing is where it ends up landing.
Man, that's rad, dude. Okay. I have all the questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So last year I worked on a music marketing project, right? And so got to work with, some really, really smart marketers for musicians. And I also learned exactly how hard of an industry that is. How long did you focus on the music thing?
So that was, I started when I was in middle school. I did self-taught everything, self-taught production, like learned all of the technology to become a producer. So I wasn't as interested in like the singer or like performance side. I loved the creation of it. So that's what attracted me to it. So middle school was probably like 13, 14 was when I started that. Mm-hmm. And I had a really weird experience where within like a couple years, this was the MySpace era. Everything did like, in hindsight, it was like the best I had like done online, but I had no idea how great it was doing. So that started in like early teens. I had this music producer lane sort of carving out. But the older I got, kind of getting into college and like 20s, it started becoming more and more realistic of kind of seeing how the industry worked. It's very inner circle, closed circle, like so it's just started becoming more and more, I guess, like jaded, kind of the deeper you got pulled into the belly of the beast. So that was closer to like my mid 20s. So about a full decade, I had like the dream going for it for a while, and still super grateful. Learned tons of lessons, was able to do like kind of the urban, like downtown, completely different lifestyle compared to where I'm at now. So super grateful for it still, but it was about a full decade of the grind before finally kind of shifting and starting to plant some of those other seeds that really changed the game.
Interesting.
I know we all think that's, you look back on some of that stuff and be like, oh, I wouldn't trade the struggle. That was awesome. It made me who I am. But is there anything about that early side that you would do a little bit differently? Because my son plays like 6 or 7 instruments. He loves producing, but he also loves it too. And so I'm like hearing like my son in like 15 years talking like, oh wait, what?
Yep.
the beast? No.
Yeah.
Change?
So yeah, I guess there's two levels of it too, for sure. The key piece that really clicks for me that I always have pop up is investing in promotion over production. As a creator, as an artist, it is your natural instinct to focus on the creation itself, the show, the product, the track, that final vision. And what's more important is that somebody actually hears it or sees it. And that's where a lot of the focus and the, I guess it's almost a false targeting. Your natural instinct is just to make it the best product ever, the best video ever. And that's really the less effective thing to focus on, but it's counterintuitive for an artist or a creator to be like, oh, well, let's go focus on our promotion systems and distribution channels. Like, yeah, hey, that's usually not their favorite part of the process. But that's what makes it sustainable, is the networking, the business, the promotions, all of that stuff that happens all of the other 22 hours of the day that you're not actually creating and producing. That's the key piece that I didn't invest in, and was always like, oh, the best will always rise to the top. If it's good music, if it's good art, if it's good whatever. So not the case.
That sounds a little bit like product-led marketing, right? And these people who were like, well, if the product is good enough, you don't even need a sales team or any marketing because the right people. No, not on any timeline that matches up with revenue goals. Like,
or reality.
Yeah, or reality. Yeah, for sure. Man, okay. So inside of music, right? Some of the best marketers I know are musicians, right? And they have this kind of like self-taught ability to market because they're musicians, and they get that they're not big enough that they're gonna like have a team and stuff like that. Working with this group, there's a lot of people who felt kind of like the way that you were talking about, like they don't want to have to promote anything because like the music is good enough and stuff like that. How do people deal with that? How do they push past that? You know, you're a sellout if you try to sell this thing, you know, if you try to go big. Any thoughts there?
I think a big portion of it is understanding maybe a monetization avenues. There's the traditional single route of monetizing like the product itself, which is through advertising or somebody else wanting to take those eyeballs or take that attention in some way. What I've discovered is usually as a creative in any lane, so this can be music, a book, podcast, videos, if you can connect it practically to your life or your business in a more effective way, that can be a monetization route that doesn't rely on a third party. So now if your monetization is selling community courses to help others produce this type of genre of music, now your monetization avenue is, who's gonna call you a sellout for helping them accomplish their dreams? Like, probably not a person you're gonna want in your community anyways. So shifting the avenue of monetization could be a more honorable route, I suppose, compared to traditional advertising, which that's where you kind of sell your soul. You lose creative control, and we see this a lot in podcasts. If you go the traditional route, you're playing the million downloads game. How can we get millions of downloads, cast the net as wide as possible, and then you just sell those eyeballs to the highest bidder. That's how a lot of the top 100 podcasts monetize, and they get that same cycle. They were great, had all these loyal followers, whatever, and then when they hit top 100, now there's Me Undies commercials every 6 minutes on the podcast, and you're like, what is going on here? But if you had your own program, your service, a business that you're helping and pooling and building a community around, it's suddenly a whole different avenue of monetization that is way healthier and more sustainable in several different ways.
Man. Okay. I have some rapid fire questions about your tech because I am that guy. And because Gabe is asking a question over here in the comments, badly, Gabe. That's how I
Yes,
promote it.
I didn't know if I was going to put it up or not, but
Yeah, no, please put it up there.
Said
I do it badly. I do it one to one.
Oh.
I give it out more. I give it out to people a fair amount of times. I like someone on Lunch Club that I was chatting with yesterday had already bought the audiobook, and I had a moment of like, man, I don't even get to give it to you. But like, thanks for buying it. Like a very weird space because normally people have not bought the book. So just badly, Gabe, honestly. Okay, T-Lock, what kind of headphones are you rocking right now? Because I'm a headphone fanatic.
I was just trying to sneakily shift the batteries here that just died midstream, and I'm glad we brought full attention to these. But these are the wireless Steel Series Arctic somethings.
Okay.
I believe was what we rolled with.
Thank you. Mike.
But they were, super, super helpful to finally have like full hands-free experience. I was so used to like the traditional gaming. I still like every time I get up from my chair, I'm like still weary of the cable and the like. So it just feels like a whole new world. Like I can go run to the kitchen, go grab a drink, and still like stay connected. So highly recommended to get any level of upgrading to wireless.
Interesting. These are wireless, and I still rock the cable because like habits, right? And also the batteries will die.
Oh,
and,
sure.
Opposite
Opposite dilemma is batteries dying midstream, mid conversation.
You know,
hey, I look great. I can't hear you. You know. Exactly.
What camera are you running? Because it looks real crisp.
I am on a Logitech Brio. I'm still on an old webcam life. I haven't jumped to the DSLRs yet, but a simple webcam and adjusting the right like few settings can be a game changer. I was up so early today. We had a beam of light for the last like 5 or 10 minutes that has been going over my camera. I was trying to figure. I was like, "What is happening?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm never up this early. I don't know what it's like at this time." Yes, one of those.
Like,
it was one of those.
When I reached out to Travis and was like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I would love to come on the show." And I said, "Just so you know, this is when it runs." And he goes, "Oh, that is way outside our regular programming hours." And I was like, "Okay."
And it was all public too. It was like there was no.
I just kind of like pulled you out. And, yeah. I just like here's the elite levels like salesmanship of John, right? I'm just hanging out in this guy's Discord community, and then I'm like, "Oh, when are you coming on the show?" And like his community is huge and booming. It moves very quickly, and so all these people were like, "Look how easy it is for him these days," you know. And I was like, "I don't know what's going on. I just wanted to come on the show." But yeah, I didn't DM him. I didn't do anything like that. I just called him out in front of his own community and was like, "Hey, you gonna come on the show?" So yeah, that's what it takes, guys. Right? If you want to find guests, you got to go get them.
Okay, so I want to dig deeper back into like how you're folding this passion you have into practical uses, right? So for you, it's kind of easier to see like you've taken this thing and you're helping other people do it, which is awesome, right? Because that just fits what you get your passion in there. You get to help people do it, and there's not like it's like a really straight line, right? But for other people, right, who have maybe not the same talent level, same level of background, experience, things like that, it's still want to do something fun, you know, and they come to you. What's that conversation look like?
Heavy discovery is what that conversation looks like. That leads into strategy. I think very much all of this is about finding your lane. A lot of people have this idea of you are a creator, you aren't a creator. shatter that concept. It's
Mhm.
so much more so about what are your ideal lanes of creation. And for some people, it is very macro business, like abstract level. For others, it's a physical sculpting and painting and and then there's everything in between, and the digital and abstract world and the very physical. So more of it is about discovering what is your lane, and then the part B of that conversation is how to build a strategy around that lane or that format. And when those two worlds are operating in unison, that's when you have sustainable creativity that's plugging into your life or your business in a positive way, instead of thinking of it in like a biological context. You need positive energy, like surplus cycle. If you're just spending your energy and you lose it every time you create something and you're not getting anything back, whether it's in feedback or business ROI or anything, all that is just a one-ended candle that you're just going to burn all the way to the bottom and say this doesn't work, and you aren't ever going to create again. nobody
How often are
nobody
you?
wins.
Yeah, exactly. So how often are you pressing people like to be more creative? Not like be more creative, but like you are more creative than this. You don't have to just step in front of a mic and do a podcast because that's what
Yeah, you don't have
everybody's
to do a
doing.
talking
Like,
head thing.
yeah, like how much of that type conversation, number one, do you like having? Like, no, dude, look at you, you got this, versus are you actually having?
It seems to be I mean, every damn day is this is the short answer. That's where I've been super grateful to kind of connect. When I mentioned like it feels like I've finally found my lane, it's because helping others get to that stage, like that's what keeps me going. And of course, I found like a practical business context to plug that into, but even more exciting than that is the individual that's behind there and them getting to see their ideas and their voice come to life. That's the moment that I'm living for and creating, and that's what our entire community is based around, this concept of creation and finding your lane, finding your medium. So in general, I'm always just kind of generally doing it as kind of a natural, like, what's your thing? Kind of almost like also there's kind of an A&R, like sort of talent discovery type of vibe to it, of like, yo, you got it, you got the live stream, the look, the voice, versus like some people are just fantastic copywriters and they crush it with text posts and newsletters, and like it's those little details that if one of them did the opposite thing, they might not think creation or content works, but just those little tweaks, those little dials in the whole process, it's only a few key things that need to click before suddenly just everything starts operating at what feels like full steam. And that's what we want to try and get people to. So I'm having those conversations 24/7 at all different capacities. Quick little DMs, hey, what do you think of this? To we have like hour-long like professional consulting sessions for strategy, production, technology testing. Hey, we wanna try this type of show with this mic. Is this work? How's this lighting? All that technical stuff. And then the highest level is really just when we start and onboard a client. It's just full business discovery. What channels do we have? What internal influencers and employees do we have? What have we tried before? What data do we have? And it just becomes an amalgamation of building out a primary product, some level of repurposing strategy, and then distribution channels that you just hammer home. And that's the highest level of that conversation.
That's super cool.
Okay, you mentioned something in there that like the creation thing, or at least the unveiling of it, needs to fuel you in some way, shape, or form. Which I think lots of people on the business side put out content out of like like a forced need. They're like, well, we gotta blog, we gotta do video, we gotta do the podcast and stuff like that. Does that come from being a musician first? Like, because I imagine that's a lot of the pull of doing it, and living the starving artist lifestyle and everything is like the feedback of like going and doing a show and everything. So does that come from there? Like, is there a big disconnect in like the business types you meet who are like, yeah, we want to be, out here doing creative stuff, and they're just doing it without any connection to it? Is that normally what happens in your conversations?
Yeah, it's almost that the two opposite problems. So like artists have creation without reason, and without the ROI. It's for the world, the voice, the message, for therapy. Like when business folks usually create, there's this sort of urgency or like checklist mentality of like, we're just checking it off the list. Okay, we got to add this to the campaign, add this. And that sweet spot, like most things, is right in the middle. If you can have the inspiration or the core creation be in more of that artist like category where it's serving something internally or externally on a deeper level, but it's still plugging into a practical business. It's not just go listen to my song on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's over. And like, and there needs to be a secondary element attached to it. And it's too boring if you go too far the business direction. And then if you go too artistic, the other side, it's not sustainable. So I think the struggle yet that a lot of business folks have is this checklist mentality, where you just feel like if it's done, it's done. And you don't think of it in a long game strategy where it's more so about consistency and volume of production and showing up. That's what I started seeing with the music industry, and even the best content creators that you would talk about today in business and entrepreneurship. The reason they come top of mind is because of consistency. It's not because of one stellar video that just made it and went viral. It's because I'm so freaking sick of seeing little clips of Gary Vee on stage over here and on a conference over here and in a little cell phone video over here. It's the consistency of showing up consistently. And of course, production quality is a piece of that equation to recognize and have brand recognition and colors and fonts. But the reason why you remember somebody is because they showed up consistently over and over and over. So that's where our entire strategy comes from, is how can we start showing up daily? We literally call it daily. It doesn't come out to that in execution. Obviously, there's like sensitive days you want to avoid, or holidays, and like you can take a break whenever. But in general, the concept is you should be showing up daily. And that's what we want to get people to. And in order for that to happen, you have to stay sustainable, and all of your systems, everything you're doing has to encourage, how can we do this again? Bigger, better, faster, and just keep the machine on autopilot. That's where all of the magic happens, and consistency is the keystone for everything to finally click and come together.
Man,
Travis,
okay.
I was gonna ask if you heard real quick. If you've heard of Volta Volshin-Smith, she's a watercolor painter. She's one of the few that got the hoodie. You know, the hoodie.
Yeah, I 100% know the name, and I feel like I kind of recognize her face. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring her up because like this is, a lot of times you think about business people trying to do this, but like she's a painter. She's a watercolor painter, and that's her passion. That's how she wants to make money. And she's been sticking around for probably a year and a half now. And she puts her stuff up every single day. And she just hit like something, right? There's something that caught for her.
Yep.
And, it's so cool that the stuff that you're talking about is not just for Mr. CEO, Mr. CMO, Mr. Marketing Director, it's like, if you've got a thing and you care about it, you're actually more likely to be consistent and show up. It's just a matter of figuring out the best way to package it up for yourself, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, so the nugget in there for me is like the consistent thing, and I'm a consistent person pretty naturally. Like it's something, it's like a big kind of vein for me. But no one, like everyone is talking about the amount of content you need to do, right? Obed has a song called like "How Do We Build a Media Company?" because this is stuff that people are talking about, and no one is talking about this idea. And I'm glad that you are around that. Like, if it's not in a vein that you get energy from, right? If you don't think it's cool, if you don't think it's comfortable or approachable or doing something cool, you won't do it consistently, right? And so then the difficulty is like finding a lane that you're like, I've talked about this on here, like video is a struggle for me, right? So like my TikTok has got to be done almost kind of secondhand almost, right? I'm not part of the edit, I'm not part of any of that stuff, but writing, I could sit down and write 2,000 words right now about this conversation, like not a problem at all, right? So like different kinds of content are going to have different ways of unlocking it. Potentially, yeah, that could be cool. Real quick, I want to talk about your show very, very specifically because you come in to. I'm just curious how this conversation went, right? You come in, you're like, guys, I know what we're going to do. Nightclub on LinkedIn. Is that how it went? What was the discovery process to figure out, like, you know what, okay, cool, we're gonna do a club on LinkedIn on Friday nights?
The polar opposite of that, actually, which is I think a crucial lesson in story in adaptability and in recognizing opportunities, experimenting, improvising, was where a lot of this happened. So the origin story of Club Link is actually almost the exact opposite of what it is now. So when I first started discovering live streaming, so especially on LinkedIn Live, it was still brand new. And I was in sort of I still have it, the imposter syndrome stage where I had no idea anybody would care what I had to say, what I had wanted to do, like anything on that context. So all of the streams I set up were made to spotlight a main event or a primary guest. So we've had folks like Jonathan Palmar, Luke Matthews, Shay Rowbottom, Leah Turner, all of these like LinkedIn like heavy hitters, like celebs and influencers that I was able to create. Like my original streams were the main event. It was just called Feel Good Friday, and then we would have some type of main event or main attraction that was a educational like little seminar, LinkedIn tips, like some type of conversation like that. But because these were like heavy hitters and big impressive people on LinkedIn, I just didn't want to have like an empty stream and like, and let's start the show. So I had what was called just this warm up, like happy hour, where we just had 15, 20, 30 minutes of like, hey, happy Friday, how you guys been? Like, grab a drink if you want. Like, Leah will be in here in 30 minutes. We'll start the interview. How you been? Like, it's just very, very super casual. Started to become a little less casual over the episodes. And after like a full season of production, we like went into the feedback and like got responses from the community. And everybody's favorite part was the first opening like 15 minutes. And we would look at the analytics and we got into like all these presentations and LinkedIn reports and stats and trends and like all this like value and gold. And the viewership would just be dwindling like after that moment. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the heck? And eventually started recognizing and leaning into this moment of like, well, let's cut. Let's lean into it. Let's give the people what they want. And what we ended up doing was an experiment of, okay, let's keep the happy hour, the music, and the hosting of that vibe, but how do we make it professionally valuable? And the most practical way was for others to at least network and connect and kind of do a little bit of like self-promotion. There's at least value in being there, even if you're having a fun time. So the origin of Club Link was when we decided to take that happy hour concept, continue that as the primary production, and then we added a networking element where people can jump into the live stream, respond to chat cues, answer questions. We make some of them fun, silly, entertaining questions. We make others very practical, very professional. And it's became just the perfect balance for that Friday evening, clock out, jump in and just turn it up. That's such like a common feeling that I was used to, like downtown was like, all right, Friday at 5 o'clock, either like go get happy hour drinks with the team or dinner and go out to the clubs. Like that whole situation just didn't exist anymore, like in the middle of the pandemic. So it just became this epicenter of introvert and extrovert energy, like kind of just all coming into one. And it was honestly an experimental innovation decision, just one thing at a time. So much of this has been improvising and adapting a little bit each time. So that was the origin, was taking what was working from our prior show, trimming what was actually the main event and turning it into its own production. So it took about three seasons of production to finally get where it's at right now. But we'll see where it goes next year, because we're already twisting and tweaking and changing different ways that people can now join interactively from around the world instead of just in the chat.
Wow, dude. I love how actually the data and looking at the data and not your ego led to a bit of a shift, right? I'm curious if you had any ego around the idea of like, man, people don't even want to watch these interviews. Like, what am I like? Did you struggle with that? Or were you just able to look at the data and you were like, cool, like this is our new way forward because this is what the data is telling us?
Yep. So the key lesson I learned, and everybody can find their style, is actually splitting education and entertainment. For a long while, I've been hearing this like edutainment. You gotta edutainment your way into content. And there are ways to double dip and do both, especially for stuff like TikTok videos, or creators like Alex Sheridan does very great like edutainment in the moment. So I was trying to do like the long form version of that, which maybe isn't as practical as the short form. And for me, I just completely split it. And I had Wednesday and like midweek streams that were pure education, insights, systems, checklists, resources, literally like deep e-course level of education and production. And that's where I focus. Like I'll have like a little bit of background music or like try to build a theme or a world around it, but we're not here to have fun and have drinks and stuff. Like we're here to accomplish a vividly specific goal, and I'm going to give you literally every step you need to accomplish it. That's how I started approaching the education. And then the same context of if there is an interview, if the goal of the interview is to extract somebody that is an expert, an industry expert or professional, having them on just to do something silly or entertaining didn't feel quite right. So I've just completely split education and entertainment. I have education streams that are just authority, systems, and all of that like nitty gritty detail stuff. And then now the benefit is when I do go to the entertainment side, I don't have to worry about, where's the value? Is this, did we get to our signature interview question? Did we get to that? It can just be anything. If you're here having a good time, great. Mission accomplished in any capacity, any level. And it really just for me, it alleviated the pressure of feeling like I needed to do both. at the same time. So that might not always be the answer. Heavily depends on context and formats and style. But for me, a key piece was giving them their own lanes. And then it was way easier for both of them to individually flourish in their own creative way. So just think how you can reshape your content into different series or silos if you're having too much trouble doing the amalgamating all the advice you've heard from everybody over the years into one strategy. That's where I started.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost working in reverse, right? With what you got versus all the things that you heard. So, okay, given that, we've got 3 or 4 questions in here that maybe you could do a little like quick free discovery, right? Like just tell us off the top of your head, based on what we can get right here, what you think. You game? Should we go? Let's do this.
Yeah.
So we've got Jan. Jan says, besides your innovative distribution method, what do you see as a strategy for a business with balls, ready to jump in, but realistic about banning issues? So it sounds like we kind of know a personality here a little bit, right? We've got somebody who's willing to go at it. Obviously this is, you probably want a lot more context than this, but what's your initial thoughts with that?
So I think the one of the key pieces here is recognizing just all of the channels that you have in general. And your personal channel is just a single avenue. Often, in most cases, the most effective channel. But first think of that just as a single distribution channel. And then you have the multi-platform situation. So you have the company, your personal brand, and then all and any social or digital platforms for each of those. So only one of those can technically get banned at a time. Unless you're really messing up, then you've got a whole nother issue. So first, decentralize what channels and avenues of distribution. So your personal LinkedIn, your personal Facebook, your personal TikTok, then your branded LinkedIn, your branded Facebook, your branded TikTok, branded YouTube, etc. This decentralizes your risk, I guess, if you do have an abrasive strategy. And then the secondary element of this strategy, if they're trying to do something like controversial or like shock marketing, is to approach it on your healthiest accounts. If you have other accounts that have been signaled or flagged or triggered, that might be another key piece. But I'd be just am very curious, what the fear of being banned is. If it's industrial, I dealt with that in like the cannabis space. Was a nightmare to build like an Instagram page or something to 10, 20, 50K followers. And then get it shut down and restart again. So I would say it's
abrasive.
Okay, very abrasive. Yeah. So there is value to doing this. It's just remember, you have to do something with all that attention. There's the part B a lot of people forget about. So it's okay to earn that conflict, that abrasive attention, but you have to have something to bring people to after that. So simplifying that second action, whether it is a discovery or a CTA or a lead magnet of some sort, very easily could be one of those ways to get the attention in an abrasive way, but the landing page is a nice soft fluffy cloud that's like, okay, I'm not an absolute psycho, but here's our system, here's our product, here's our whatever. I know many people that do kind of the poke the bear strategy. It works for some folks. For other folks like me, it gives me a freaking heart attack of fear of judgment, over analysis, all of that stuff. But then I know other individuals, Luke Matthews, he pokes the bear every other day, and it works out great for him because he knows how to soften that landing, like when they actually convert to a call and a discovery, and they're like, okay, so we can obviously just use those strategies that got you on this call in a more practical way for your business, and stuff like that. So it's just being mindfully, like emotional intelligence and social intelligence. A lot of that stuff that we see
Yeah.
with this, I don't even know what to call it, like WWE style, like
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
sensationalism
thinking
marketing.
Mhm.
Same thing with the Oscars. Oscars were in the worst condition ever, of like 10 years of declining viewership. Suddenly, out of nowhere, they're back on everybody's radar. Why did that happen this year? There is value to that, but what looks like just going out there to piss people off, there is technical genius at play behind there. It's the
Yes.
it's the Kanye paradox of like, you think they're insane, but there has to be a level of genius and strategy underneath it. If you just go out there to just stir shit up, you're just going to go out there and stir shit up and get banned. So that just be technical and tactical about using that approach in the same way that these massive industries and companies would do so as well.
And I love the thing you're talking about there of like, if you're going to be that person, you have to do something with that energy, right? Because like I was thinking of wrestling as you were talking about that thing, and I was like, the heel comes in to the music and he bashes the chair over the thing, but then there's the fight, there's the actual altercation, and you see triumph, or good triumphs evil, or whatever happens, whatever the script is and everything. But like there's that outlet of it, there's this kind of wrap up to the whole process. That never thought about it like that. That's my nugget for today. That's good.
Yeah, I was
That's
going to say
really
something similar. Is that really the social presence is a big part of it, but even some people don't necessarily understand the emotional intelligence that comes with that all the time. They're like, oh yeah, I'll be nice, eventually. And it's like, okay, well, if you never get to the nice, so like it's like your forehand's hard, but your backhand's soft, right? Or whatever metaphor you want to use. Like you got to at least bring some soft too. So okay, cool, great. That's fantastic. So we're gonna there's another one here. There's a guy. Yeah, that was very good. Has an app, okay, and he doesn't know how to share the app, and he's got to, we'll try and say basically you can register and log in and find local events nearby in your city. You can register yourself for other events, get tickets through mail, things like that. So he's got this app he's come up with. He doesn't know how to promote it. It sounds like it's based around events and being notified and an all-in-one sign-up place for all local events around you. So any thoughts on how he could use some content to create some stir?
Yeah, so this key piece is understanding who you need to get in front of. So very similar to any other high-level marketing agency, branding agency, they all start from and reverse engineer their strategy from a vividly specific client persona. So this is the first domino to knock over, is who needs to use this app. And in his case, we have the dual end of the people hosting the events and actually using this for their physical event, and then the part B of people attending and using events. Hey, just jump on this website, log in. The first one, category A, is more likely the more valuable. I would assume he's probably on the same boat in agreeing with that. But if the persona is getting people to host events on the app, then that's what we want to focus the narrative of your story around. So your story, your personal story, you become the Obi-Wan of the situation, and in all of your content, you want to show event producers and event managers as Luke, going through and discovering. A lot of people invert that equation, and they go, "Look how awesome my events are doing! Come use my app." And that's like level 1 of doing that. But the best and also way more sustainable content strategy is finding the exact stories of the people that you want downloading and using that app. So you go and find, you discover your 3 different archetypes are local and like charity event organizers. And then you discover like corporate and virtual event sponsors. And then like a third one is like festival and music like producers. you
Right.
now have 3 lanes of storytelling that you can rinse and repeat with all of your content. So what we do and what we build is we create a system that has a primary production for those rinse and repeat interviews or shows or whatever concept it becomes, a publishing and repurposing strategy for all of that content to land where it needs to in full form. And then in what really adds like fuel to the fire here is the micro content repurposing. In all of those same conversations you were having, you now have these 30-second, 3-minute clips that reinforce those narratives that you are trying to tell. So you're essentially saying the same story over and over and over in your content. We help small organizers, we help mid-level event organizers, and we help the big boys. And over and over and over, and now you're starting to get burned into people's memories as the event guy. What was that event app again? And even if it's 6 days or 6 months or 6 years from now, if you're playing Gary V long game, the moment they need X and they think of Y, that is the entire purpose of content. If there's a clear bridge between this and that X and that Y, that is the whole purpose of content. And it requires consistency in showing up to actually get that impression burned in there. But that would be the macro level approach. Lots of smaller details to figure out on the personal level of, is your format going to be better for live stream, for podcasts, for a YouTube series? There's little details like that to kind of discover your style. But in general, the premise will stay the same. Rinse and repeat content, distribution channels, amplify promotion.
Syed, dude, you just got an MBA. You got a master's level course. You got a full 2-hour webinar right there, Syed. So thanks. That's fantastic. And Jan said, thanks for the insight. This is gold. Okay.
The nugget there, I think, if we can go just a little bit deeper for like people who might just be drinking their coffee, not like actively watching this thing, is like, you can't just say, okay, I talk to people who organize events, right? Because, you know, he was like small events, big events. Like the people who were throwing like Lollapalooza are not having the same issues and concerns as the people who were trying to get like donor drives and local nonprofits, right? And so if you're not speaking to those people rather specifically, you don't stand out. You're just lost in the shuffle of everybody else. Because while we're here talking about content, the other side of this thing is that everybody's putting out content. Like scroll social media, that's all content. And some people aren't even writing their own content. They're not doing their own things. That's okay. No judgment or anything, but like everybody's putting out content. So if you're not speaking like directly to those people in your lanes, not like, well, I talk to people who do events. Cool. You're going to miss the mark a lot. You're just going to be kind of like white noise. So I love the different levels and always be thinking about it and breaking it down. That's huge.
Yeah. And the other side of it too, as you mentioned, kind of the whole Donald Mills story brand is who's really kind of made that famous recently, is that it's not about you. You're not the hero. Your customer is the hero. And I love that you talked about stories too, that the fact that you're not just saying, hey, this is for you. You're saying, look at these people like you who are having such a good time. And you could be a part of this. You really could. This could be you. Don't you want to do this? Come on, let's go. Look at these people. This is awesome. So some great movies.
Hold on. I love the metaphor he used in there of like, you get to be Obi-Wan, right? Because like story brand is like the popular thing right now. Everyone's talking about story. Everyone is on there. But like, you know, like everyone struggles with not making themselves the hero and being the guide. And the way that you just said that right then, right there, you're Obi-Wan. You're not Luke. They're Luke. You're Obi-Wan. You're helping them get there. That I wish I'd heard that before I read the book. Honestly, that would have been huge for me.
Yeah, that would have been helpful. Yeah, and not PTSD Obi-Wan that we've seen recently. We're talking like, oh my God, strike me down, dog.
Yeah, I can't account for anything in the last 5 plus years. I don't know the version of that, but in the original context, I had heard it somewhere else and finally clicked.
I love that.
For me as well. So regurgitated wisdom. Glad to keep it rolling.
If it's real, it's real, right? If it works, who cares where it comes from? So
I'd like to switch gears for just a second because we're coming up on time here, and I want to talk about this thing. I want to talk about your Discord community, right? Because it's
Sure.
huge, it's rad. You do some really cool things around promoting art and creativity and stuff. What's your favorite part of the Discord community for you?
Oh my gosh, this was another happy accident, I guess we'll call them Bob Ross style, where we had no intention. I had no intention of starting a Discord community, like you were mentioning with the club. Like, where did this come from? Like, where did this start? And it just had an adaptive origin story where all of us have now created a home base of loyalty and connecting because of one event, one moment that ended up bringing all of this to life. We had been dabbling in LinkedIn live streams for a little bit, but very much in like an experimental context. So what we did, coincidentally, and Kelsey will actually, she was here for the origin of this story, so this got even better in perfect timing. We had this insane idea in hindsight to have a 24-hour live stream. So it was actually John Palmar and Luke Matthews, who are very popular on LinkedIn, very like, almost like we were talking earlier, like that WWE style, like sensational marketing. And they wanted to do this 24-hour live stream on LinkedIn Live. Like, you can just see it now, like just enough to get people's attention, get eyeballs. Like, you guys are crazy. And they did it. They were actually doing it for a full 24 hours, going from stream to stream. They kind of hopped with different hosts. And what happened during that experience is people like Kelsey and me and Gabe and a bunch of these others were commenting so much throughout the streams that we got banned on LinkedIn. So careful, Jan. This is a way that you can actually get your account like suppressed or banned if you comment too much or too quickly. And we all started discovering that we were getting banned over time, like after like 8, 10, 12 hours of like commenting through these streams. And we were like, okay, what the heck are we going to do? So we tried doing like a DM group for a little bit, but it was still all like LinkedIn and some people weren't there. So out of nowhere, we put together a Discord group of everybody that was banned. And we started being like 10 plus people that were commenting and so engaged that they couldn't comment anymore. And we've jokingly called it like the VIP table, the VIP group. And it became this internal joke of like the VIP gang, and that was the origin of our first like Discord community. And there wasn't any original focus until this year. We finally recalibrated and we're like, all right, let's put a game plan together here, as we had plenty of tension, interaction and stuff. So now the community in its current form, the Beast Club, is set up to serve content creators, of all kinds, to help you share that journey, discover your format, whether you're more on the artistic side or more on the business side. It's difficult to navigate that spectrum. So that's what we're putting together with our Discord, is a home base for those creators to not only connect with one another, but to kind of share that journey from your first post to just rocking and rolling. Some people have been creating for a long while now, and it's about leveling up and stepping up their game. So just having an avenue for all of that passion and creativity to flourish has been a key piece. So we try to keep it as lighthearted as possible. We're not as nearly as like hammered to like week after our meetings on Wednesdays at 6:30. Better be there for the mastermind. Show up for this. Like, we're trying to upgrade and enable those opportunities. But right now it's been a very fun way for us. We've got people gaming in there. We use it as our after party venue for the Friday night streams. It's just a brilliant way for people to connect 24/7 for the hours that you're not posting, especially for creators and creatives. You're often only posting and getting your content out there once, twice a week. The people that are really out there, it's even if it's daily, it's still only a few hours of that day. So for me, Discord has become our home base for everything and everyone. Those other 23 hours of the day for things to keep rolling. So it's been a game changer for my world. Another adaptive happy accident that we kind of stumbled into, but very, very grateful that it is now a piece of the puzzle, because it's become an integral part of my life and business lately.
Man, I love how responsive you are to like the feedback you're getting from people. Like, other question, what have you built that has failed, that like you didn't take this kind of approach and you were like, you know what, I'm going to do this my way and it's going to be rad, and then it wasn't? Do you have one of those under your belt?
I have an expensive one of those under my belt.
Okay.
So this was my biggest lesson in entrepreneurship. The key piece was discovering that, like you were mentioning, responsive feedback. That needs to be the seed of the idea or the seed of the business. What I used to think of was a very probably 80s, 90s style of like business development, where you had to build the business plan and go get a loan and like and rent a building and lease a building. Like, it's a huge commitment. So think of the two ways that you can build a business. And one is in an adaptive and reactive way. That is what has been successful in my world. My first business in the cannabis space was reactive to, there was no brand for responsible, regular, professional cannabis consumers. It was all very much like Cheech and Chong, like Rasta, Bob Marley man, smoke like head shop type of brands and vibes. So I reactively adapted and built to that, and it was a success. I rode my ego wave for a while after that business and company was acquired, and was like, oh, I got this business stuff figured out. I've got it nailed. And was like, all right, what's my next one gonna be? Here we go. And this was where my mistake was me assuming a demand or assuming a need. So my next mentality was I had my eyes on Web3 and crypto in like 2015, 2016, started just feeling the heat kind of coming towards this direction. I had personally been sold on it. And what I did was build my next business around, okay, there's going to be tons of people that want to get into crypto. Let's build an onboarding and education platform that just does it all for them, from like basically a noob friendly, even like before you sign up for Coinbase, how do you get into the world of crypto and discover all of that? And I just assumed, like, because I was so passionate and personally attached to it, I was like, all right, this is going to change the world. Everybody needs this. And I invested in all kinds of production gear, e-course stuff, lighting, video stuff, built the website, the logo, the branding, the marketing, all of this before I ever even had one customer or one person ask for this course or for this product. And I had spent tens of thousands of dollars in this idea that I was adamant was going to be it and everybody needed, and it just absolutely flopped. I couldn't beg people to do it for free. Like, it was that bad. And because what I discovered is there's so much friction getting people into the technology and into the crypto. It's not nearly as simple as something like PayPal or Venmo or something like that. So for me, that was a huge lesson in where those seeds of those ideas come from. And even though it makes me kind of cringe as a producer, as a creator, but you can't build the product first and then bring it to somebody. It's very much about building it with the individual and with the community. So what I've adopted now is I do have some level of internal testing, but my order of operations now is the external feedback or seed is planted for the idea or the concept. I test it internally for my own self, just my personal brand, personal business. And then when a model and a system is established, we bring it to the client level. So it kind of gives us a nice little kind of middle ground where it's not as high risk of sort of experimenting with a client project, but you can still reactively adapt to those moments and those situations. So that was a really key piece for me in switching where the seeds and the origin of those ideas come from. It's got to be a market and audience demand fit, and adapting and innovating with the product and with the community is way more valuable than what I had assumed was the kind of the build it and they will come approach. And unless it's just the most like life-saving like app or most convenient website, like practical, much needed website in the world, like not going to work like that. Not going to work like that at all. So build it with the customer, with their ideas, with their words, and watch how that reshapes your biz dev over time.
Wow, that man, there's the nugget right there. Good Lord, like I mean, like the curse of success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's rad. Awesome. You got to go, Jake. You want to do the wrap up, homie?
Yeah, dude. This has been awesome, T-Lock, man. You're the man. I really appreciate you just like gushing, divulging. That's
for sure. Like so many people would be like, we can't talk about that. That would be considered free consulting, and I can't do this kind of thing. And that didn't happen, man. Thank you. We appreciate you sharing openly. It was rad.
Yeah, cool. Well, I put it up a second ago. I'll put it back up. Here's Travis's Discord channel right there, Beast Club. So
Nice.
check that out. I'm sure he'd love to
get in there. And then come back in like 10 hours when the club is going.
Yeah.
Come
see you at
check
the club.
I brought my daughter in last Friday when I was hanging out and spectating the event. And I was like, hey, come check this out, because she likes live streamers and some YouTubers and stuff. And so she comes in and she goes, what is this? And I was like, this is LinkedIn. And she's like, is this like YouTube? And I was like, no, it's different, but like, this is pretty cool. But yeah, she lost her mind, man. It was really, really cool.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. No, yeah, we'll see you there tonight. And then anybody that is interested in our community, that Discord link, we've got gamers, we've got artists, we've got business and executives, founders, entrepreneurs, professionals of all walks. So anywhere you're at in that spectrum, would love to have you. And there's plenty of several people that will welcome you and support you along the journey as well. So would love to see more folks just crossing over, exactly like John and I did over there.
Yeah, I hang out there. I'm hanging out in the gaming channels, getting in there, like arguing with people that like you can lose a game and not be toxic about it. So that was that was an argument I had to have in your Discord channel. So yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really cool, and I love how they're connected. I didn't realize how connected they were until you came on here and talked about it. I love that. Yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on. This was so cool. I appreciate you waking up early because you're in Colorado, so it's 7:30 there. Very much, man. I appreciate that. I'm gonna go pound some Red Bulls so that way you're ramped up for like energy levels for tonight. But yeah, man, this is rad. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks everybody in the comments.
Thank you. Yeah, much appreciated. Yes. Glad, well worth every minute this morning. So glad to share it with you guys and everybody here this morning.
Awesome.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. Y'all have a great rest of your Friday. Go join Travis tonight. Hit up the T-Lock Link Club. Cap off your week great with him. And then we will see you guys all on Monday morning, 7:30.
See you, buddy.